Our guest, Lars Smith, is a world champion pizza maker and a pizza veteran. He's been making pizza for 23 years, but he did most of his time making pizza at one of California's greatest pizza chains, Pizza My Heart. In this episode, we talk to him about the best practices of opening a slice house, where a good location will be, and if he plans to open more slice houses in the future. This is an amazing episode, so sit back, relax, and enjoy the show. And remember to always ask, what's good dough? You have been working in pizza for how many years now?
22 or 23 years as of August.
A lot of your teeth cutting was with Pizza My Heart.
Yeah, a lot of it.
How many years did you do with them?
13. I left a couple times, but it was always family. I left for school. Thought I wanted to do full service, but that was always home. People I reached out to, mentors and all of that. So a good 13 years. Whatever we're opening, I'm not doing slice house. Just because I want to do something different, the creative freedom, and wanted to have a bigger menu. I love sit down. I love having people in front of me dining with us. You get and it's selfish, but you get the reaction. You get to see them for the whole meal and all of that. So that was kind of the plan. But really, it was always in my back pocket because I've done it for so long, and I was I knew how to do it. Know the ins and outs of the slice business. But when I went to Atlantic City in 2019 for the Pizza Pasta Northeast competition, my wife and I celebrated our 10th wedding anniversary in New York for 5 days afterwards. And I hadn't been in New York in forever. And I went to all the industry, Best Pizza, Williamsburg Pizza.
Started flowing.
And I came back and I had the greatest time. And it was so much different than maybe 10 years ago from the time before that I'd been in New York. And seeing modern fermentation-driven pizzas, toppings, a different atmosphere than I had seen before. I was yo, this is cool. These are things that I'm interested in. And we came back and I told my partners, my brother and my dad, our partner, I was hey, we need a slice shop. And they're we said we were never gonna do that. I was nah, came back from Brooklyn, we need to do a slice shop.
Do you see any more slice houses in the future?
Yeah, I think that's the concept that we'd like to focus on. As you know, some people know, Roman style pizza is my jam. I want to open a Roman style slice shop and do some California inspired arancinis. But really this model, and I think that I've heard you talk about it a lot on the podcast and your videos, is that the restaurant business has changed so much since the pandemic, for better and worse, right? There's a lot of cool things that have happened. I think changes, dynamic industry, but the larger concept, particularly in the climate of food costs and labor, makes these big restaurants a bit more challenging to do. And a smaller, tighter restaurant, grab and go and all that is something we really want to focus on, at least for now. I don't know, can't say when it's going to happen, but we definitely would like to open more slice houses.
Let's talk about the location of this slice shop.
But this was a Taco Bell built in the 1960s, one of the first Taco Bells in the area.
Nice.
My brother and I grew up a half mile behind here. I'm showing you, my parents still live right there. So this was the Taco Bell that my brother and I would rollerblade or skateboard or bike over to, get our 39-cent tacos or whatever it was. And we had actually tried to get this location a couple other times since it was Taco Bell.
Yeah.
It was 9 things in 10 years. Literally nothing else stuck. They're it's a cursed spot. And it wasn't even for lease. The lady who was here running a fried chicken spot, it didn't work out and she closed. And we slipped a note under the door and we called our realtor friend and was hey, can you figure out the landlord or who owns this franchise? And he was, I don't know what back end, whatever. Ended up getting the lady's contact. She had given us the keys and been no seed money, call the landlord, negotiate. And so we had keys before we ever met the landlord. I probably had keep that on the hush. My dad was really the impetus for this, and he was yo, let's make this look like a Taco Bell and do our thing here. I know it's been a cursed spot, but this is home. This is my neighborhood, And so we opened, and it was rocky. It was us getting the new concept. I hadn't done slices in a couple years. It was the pandemic. But this is home, and the neighborhood's gone to bat for us, the community's gone to bat for us, and we've supported schools and sports, and it's just turned into like a really special place. Our first restaurant was 3,600 square feet with included outdoor seating, like 110 seats. And we'd done it, but like that wasn't what my bread and butter was. That was like a kick in the teeth. That was hard. And this was hard for other reasons, but like it's 1,000 square foot. I know slice. We're only doing pizzas, pre-made salads. We didn't even start with garlic knots. We got some pan pizzas. It was like, it's pretty tight. And we just figured it out. It's in the middle of the afternoon, so we have this beautiful slice case. It's really important. I think this is like the showcase of the restaurant. You want to walk in here and be like, damn, you know, like, and coming from the Pizza My Heart model, where they have like 10 options of slices, I wanted to do the same thing. So I wanted to have a variety, not just cheese and pepperoni. We have seasonal stuff here. We have pesto, mushroom, El Blanco. Some of the favorites from the public house made their way over here. And so I want it on display and to see the quality of the pizza when you walk in. You eat with your eyes first. All right, so like we have a full variety, and you can order like right now. If somebody came in and we're like, oh, we don't have, what do we not have? Like Insomniac, which is a pepperoni and sausage. Maryland ask cooks to make it. Everything's always available, but that's where it comes into like the varieties and art and not a science is what I'm always saying. Is that right? We want the freshest pizza possible. If it's out for 2 hours, it's gone. It's wasted. 4 hours is the health department standard. I think it's important. I mean, I don't want somebody to come in and get an old ass pizza and be like, this wasn't good, you know? Like, so we do 2 hours. We have timers on the wall over here. But like I say, it's art, not a science. So like right now, they got like 5 varieties of pizza out. Might not be what everybody wants, but there's 5 options. There's always some meat. There's always some veggie out. At like 5 o'clock today, they're gonna load it up because you know you're gonna get it. You know, we make one of everything in the morning and just try to manage it. And then like, you know, somebody inevitably will come in and be like, oh, can I get a pepperoni sausage that we don't have? So we'll make half pepperoni sausage, have something else we don't have, but there is waste. So you were asking about the pricing of it. We're planning this place out. We're going over the numbers. We're doing all that stuff. And I got my food cost down. I'm on my dough ball, how much cheese we're gonna use. I price it. It's just one of those things. So like you do have to account for waste in your pricing of slices. You're going to waste pizza.
All right.
And so we had to raise the prices to account for waste. And we were already training the team to be not lean, but like you don't want more pizza than you need. You don't want less pizza.
I think if I go into a slice shop and I say, oh man, there's not a lot of selection, I'm going to be kind of turned off.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right? So it's nice to have this like visual appeal, but then you also risk some of that going away.
And this is like right now, it's the least you'll ever see out here.
Okay. Yeah,
for the most part.
For the record, for people listening, it's like $2.50.
And so we really go between 130 or 2 to 430 or so. We keep it pretty lean. But part of that is training your staff is that nobody's ever going to come in here and ask for something. Be like, oh, you can tell people come in like, oh, you don't have what I want. But that's an opportunity for our staff to say, yeah, you know what? It's a slower time of day. We want to be sure you get the best product. What do you want? We'll make it right now. But I'm about like building business to make money, not saving money to make money. Like, and there's different restaurant philosophies. One's not wrong and one's not right, but I want to build guest interactions. I want to build quality. I want to build these relationships. And part of that is spending money. And part of that sometimes is wasting food, but we're going to give customers what they want and come back. With so many things in the restaurant business is structure, system, follow through. You have to do it this way. This is the recipe. Managing a slice case, that's not it. It's an art. We have a great management team. We have a great general manager, and they know the flow of the restaurant.
Waste, would you say, is determined by like a percentage, a number of pizzas?
So we use Toast POS. I know that a lot of people do these days. We've been on them since before the pandemic. Best decision we ever made for our business. They have a waste module now that looks like ringing it up. So it's a dollar amount. And we can go back and see which slices, what salads, what we wasted exactly, and a dollar amount. We were trying to do a percentage, but just the way that Toast worked, right? I'm going to invest in the technology that we're already paying for.
Sure.
So we do a dollar amount, and it's not always perfect, but they're putting in exactly what they wasted, so we can look at what pizza's not selling as well, and that kind of stuff, and make decisions on the menu based on that, and then also time of day, in which days we're wasting, and then Nubbin and I can come back in, talk to people, see what happened. Is it a one-off? Is it consistently Monday? And I'm making this up, but like Monday afternoon, is that where the highest waste is? Then we can go in and check it on. So we're getting data, following up on the data to see how we can get better.
Biggest day-to-day challenges of opening a slice house?
Day-to-day challenges, well, this is a personal one, is I'm switching concepts, like from going to public house to here, as I thought, even though I had experience at a slice house, all the recipes are the same, I'll just scale them up. Or like, we can do the same artisan California style pizza and we'll just make them big and it'll work for slices. And that really didn't work. So like the first 3 months we were here, I was tinkering with flour, dough weights, bake settings on the oven and all that. And it was like pretty humbling because it was not right when we opened. I was so confident there's gonna be right. I know how to do this. I've done the slice game before, and it wasn't. So that was the most humbling experience. I think that like, I've heard Tony Gimignani talk about this, like when he opened Pizza Rock in Sacramento, is that like, even if you have something that works really, really well, a new concept or a new location, you really have to think about the flow in there, what you're offering there, the variables there. And I knew about that when we opened here.
Does a slice house have to have big pizzas? Like, I get that it looks pretty.
All right, I'm gonna quote my guy Nino Caniglio. If it's not 18 to 20 inches and it's not 8 slices, it's not right. Man. And that's completely aesthetic. And I'll shout out to Marcus and Tracy. I know he does it differently, and I love his pizza. But for me, like I said, my coming back from Brooklyn in 2019, I want to do this. There's something about a 20-inch pizza cut into 8 slices that is just iconic. You put that size on a 9-inch paper plate, that's like nostalgia, that just like screams New York slice shop. I really like that. I think it provides a good value. It is that kind of like slice culture, if you will. The idea coming back in 2019, I was so excited. I had like notes when I was in Brooklyn. I got the idea. I was like, we're doing this.
Yeah.
Is that I wanted to do what I do best, is California style pizza ingredients and sensibilities. But I wanted people to walk in here and be like, oh, it's a New York slice shop. Like,
Yes.
It's not. I have no connections to New York besides friends that I have now, but like, it resembles the way you walk in here, the vibe, the way it presents is New York style slice shop, but it's all my inspiration from California in terms of product and aesthetic and that sort of thing.
What here speaks California? Give me some.
We got all our seasonal here. This is all California. This is our Fire on the Mountain Pizza, award-winning. Shout out to the California Milk Advisory Board, Real California Pizza Contest. This was a winner in one of the pandemic years. It's got fresh mozzarella, oil, garlic. Shout out to Cordo. It got impossible chorizo that we make here. So like vegan chorizo, that's pretty California. Fresno chilies, roasted cauliflower, pumpkin seeds. We finish it with an orange crema and micro cilantro. So there's probably people back east like, you ruined pizza. And I'm like, you know what, dude? This one bangs. We do it every fall. We got a Brussels sprout and bacon pizza that I love that gets finished with a little apple cider vinegar and a Estero gold cheese. Potato and bacon next to it. Just a little bit of everything, you know, like pesto. You don't see pesto everywhere. I think it's pretty mundane, but we try to do that, like fresh ingredients. We don't have a lot of canned stuff. You can't get pineapple here. Sorry, pineapple lovers. The canned olives are the only things that we have here. Everything else is cut the veg fresh, make everything from scratch, pickle the jalapenos, cut the mushrooms, you know, just trying to do what I think we do best and throw it on a New York style pizza.
But is that something that you want to do?
Yeah, I want to open a Roma slice shop, and it'll probably be a different concept. Yeah, by the cut. It'll probably be a different concept. I'd like to go like heavy on wine, maybe do some like supli or arancini, if you will, but like some California ones. I'd really, really like to do that.
What's a California arancini?
Like I've had done ones, and they do it like in Rome, because like Rome is like, Italy's so dogmatic in their culinary traditions, and Rome's like, nah, we do whatever we want. There is like the base pastas, but it's basically, I would do it with probably orzo instead of risotto, or pasta supli, which supli is just Roman arancini. It's smaller, it's stuffed with cheese. It's called supli, which is surprise, because surprise cheese in it, opposed to just rice. I like it with pasta because it's a little easier to control, but you can do, we could do it with Brussels sprouts. We could do like in the spring, you make a pea cream and do it with peas in it, and kind of like find like cool seasonal stuff.
That sounds
and fried pasta. And so we've already, like I've done cacio e pepe, I've done the carbonara, we've done some red sauce ones and kind of do all that kind of thing, but try to put our own like fresh spin on it. We're up to doing Fridays now, 10,000 in sales on a Friday. It's interesting back here. You know what I'm saying? Like it
Come back here on the Friday.
Yeah, it gets interesting. Like this small space.
Yeah.
You know, there's 4 people in this tiny space. One person's on ovens, one person's on dough, 2 people are making pizzas.
That's the hardest part right here.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Because this area right here gets tight, I bet.
It's super tight.
Yeah. So, how big is this dough ball for a 20-inch?
Okay, so this is actually something that's really, really cool, is that we had a 21-ounce dough ball for a 20-inch pizza for like the first 3 years. And we were like, things were good. But we had the reheats and like, say 1 out of 5 pizzas or 1 out of 6 pizzas would be thin, and we're like, waste was a little high. And I'm sitting there like, what, maybe this isn't enough dough. Even though that's what we've always done. That's what, close to it, I'm not giving any pizza in my heart secrets away. That's close to what we did at Pizza in My Heart. All that, and I was like, you know what? I gotta try. I called Laura Meyer, I hit up my friends in New York, I hit up Mimo at Orlando Foods, and they all gave me different numbers. But every single number that they gave me for a 20-inch or an 18-inch pizza was more than what I was using. And I was like, it was like Rich, I was like texting Mimo, and I was like, I know asking my flour guy how much flour I should use in a pizza is a super risky thing.
Use way more.
But that's my boy, eh? But it was like, I was like, cool, you know what? It's one of those lessons I learned that doesn't have to do with the slice culture per se. But especially when you're doing something for 23 years, is that it's really risky to start thinking you know everything or not questioning everything you do, even if it's working. Like like John Arena always talks about that. You're always trying to get better, and I know you've talked to him. I'm making my favorite pepperoni pizza. I just made pepperoni. I'm making my favorite cheese pizza. Just because things are going well doesn't mean don't question things. Nobody's complaining on our pizzas. Like every now and then we get a soggy pizza complaint, but like that's life, right? You order spinach and mushroom, onion, and bell pepper on a pizza, and you take it to go. There's not a lot you can do there. But like it was even when like we were opening and the dough looked good, and I'm watching these guys stretch everything well, and it come out and it's just thin. I'm like, you know what? I'm like, are these guys? Another night, like talked in depth about this, like before we even made any changes, like just long conversations about this. Are we not giving these guys a leg up? And we decided we weren't. And we switched maybe, no, what do you think, 6 months ago? 6 or 7 months ago, we switched to 24-ounce dough ball. And we got advice for anybody from 26 to 30. And I was kind of like, okay, well, I have an obligation to my partners and my manager here that we can't just like blow food costs, right? And so we kind of just tinkered with it. 24, and it made the world of difference on the bake,
Lovely.
On the crispiness. It was really cool.
I always hear the rule like the number of ounces for the size pizza. So an 18-inch pizza.
18 ounces.
20-inch.
Some people will tell you the ounces minus ones or so weight, But like when you start doing it that way, that's old school, and there's nothing wrong with it. But if you think about surface area on a pizza, that's not mathematically based. You know what I'm saying? Because like
absolutely.
An 18-inch pizza, or whatever, I'm going to be wrong here, but something like some math guy's going to get mad at me. Like a 20-inch pizza is double the size of a 14-inch pizza or a 12-inch. It's one of those. It's totally double the size, and so you have to do that into account. Once upon a time, we used to take our mouth and blow air under the pizza. The health department has stopped liking that. And so at Pizza My Heart, we came up with the squeeze bottle method. And even like, people don't do it, right? I probably could have got this cheese pizza off without doing that. But it's like a little bit of insurance so that it comes off. And these guys, it's part of the training here. And so everybody does it every time. I'm not saying pizzas don't stick. Pizzas do stick. But everybody does it every single time. It's just part of the workflow. It's that much less. And it allows us to use less flour. I know it's an aesthetic thing for some people. But I don't like, and that's why we use 100% semolina as dusting. The really, really fine semolina from Caputo. It's double, like maybe even finer than 00. I don't like raw flour on pizza. And like, I know it's an artisan thing, it's an aesthetic thing. You have like bread. There's bread people that purposely put flour all over a pizza, but like I've had pizzas like it, and we used to do it a little bit too. I don't like white or raw flour on my pizza. Taste. So like taste, and then like it's chalky, like it's texture. And for this comes off. It's finer than cornmeal, so it doesn't burn in the oven. And we can use less if we use the air.
How do you feel about the semolina that is not so fine?
So I don't have a problem with that. And what we used to do is from like Tony Gimignani from the Pizza Bible was we used to mix 50-50 semolina and flour with the flour that we use for the pizza. That was actually worked really well for us, besides like the mixing part, because the semolina is heavier and you mix out 2 50-pound bags. The semolina is inevitably at the bottom, so we have to mix. But when we got the electric ovens, the semolina, they're so much more powerful, is the full-size semolina was burning in the oven like really quickly, like big, like we have to brush it out all the time. Out all the time, and then if you didn't sweep it out, it was busy, you'd have you'd get burnt flour on the bottom, and so we went back to straight flour. And then when we started talking to the guys at Orlando Foods, when we brought Caputo in, and I used it in a couple competitions, and when I went to Parma, it's Cinque Stagioni con. They're using straight semolina. I loved it because for whatever, I don't know the properties of it, but it doesn't stick as much, and it cooks off like you can't really tell. And I think that aesthetics are really important for me. I love round pizzas. I like the big cornichon. I like evenness. I like distribution of toppings. Is that it gives me the aesthetic that I like, which the flavor is not that much different, but I'm really big on, and maybe it's my OCD or my affinity for fine dining. I like things that look a certain way, and this allows us to do that. Beautiful.
You got to turn it?
Yeah, we're going to do a pizza turn. So we cook at 575 with 10 on the bottom and 70 on top. And so what these, as you know, these ovens allow us to completely dial in the bake. And I love these ovens, but just electric ovens in general. If you're opening a pizzeria, advice for a slice shop or anyways, buy electric ovens. There's like, and not only the baking properties for me and the different styles you can do in it, is that the recovery time that we can, as long as we manage it correctly, open to close, we get the same 5.5 minute bakes regardless of how busy it is. And in a gas oven, best gas oven, you can't do that. They're not designed to do that,
Especially if you're doing $10,000 on a Friday.
Yeah.
How many can you fit in here?
Four.
Four.
And so, but it gets tight because the idea, if you want to keep it regenerating, is that if you keep 4 in here all the time, the stone doesn't regenerate. So you have to really, you have to have open space. So the best way is like you think about like how the sun heats the earth. Mm-hmm. We're getting like down the rabbit's hole here.
Yeah.
But the majority of the heat in electric ovens come from the top elements. They're more powerful, more amperage goes to them. The bottom is an assist, right? We call that an assist. They're less powerful and they keep the stone, and you can crank them up, but you still need time with no pizza on it. It's the same as a gas oven, is that you need deck space to have no pizza on it. And so that's why we do the rotation. And on a Friday night, we'll get 4 in there, but at some point you have to give it a break. So we'll do like 2 in the front, bottom oven, 2 in the front, 2 in the back, bottom oven, 2 in the back, and try to give 5 minutes in between.
Little dance.
It's a little dance. And then like at the public houses, they're a little bit smaller ovens. 2 in front, 1 in back, 2 in back, 1 in front. And that's like a real pro tip on any oven you have, is being sure that you have an established rotation of pizzas, where things go at what time, to keep your quality up.
How long is this bake?
About 5.5 minutes.
5.5 minutes.
It's almost done here. I like them a little crispier than some people like them. It's always like a battle with my cooks. Are wonderful guys, but I like it a little crispier than they're comfortable with. And as you can see here, the only appropriate use for a screen, I know that's a controversial take, is to slow down the bottom bake.
Yeah.
That's my opinion on screens. California's finest. Give them a shout out.
Quart of olive oil.
Quart of olive oil. Hazel, this is the pizza that I love eating, but this is what I made in Naples. It got second in the Americana too. So this is like, congrats. It's pretty simple. It's fresh mozzarella, olive oil, low moisture mozzarella, and California's finest tomato sauce.
What is your advice for someone looking to start a slice shop? Out of everything we talked about, what was like the key thing for you?
Well, it's not like for the slice shop, but the first thing I tell everybody, write a business plan, man. Write a real business plan like you're gonna get funding, because it's gonna force you not just to come up with numbers, but conceptually, because you're gonna have to do an executive summary, you're gonna have to do a market analysis, you're gonna have to do all that stuff, and so you're gonna be able to get your brand tight. For a slice shop, it's finding the right location. You said right here, it's a busy street. Does that work for you? Or do you want foot traffic and you want to find something that works and figure out how you're going to put it, who's going to guess. And then for a slice shop in particular, which is I think less important for like a sit-down restaurant, is you need to make sure that it has the correct flow. When you walk in here, you walk in and you see grab and go slices, because if you have a place that the flow doesn't make sense, and you hope, I mean, if it already exists, great, see if it works. If it doesn't exist, do that when you plan in there, because if you, by nature, want to be high volume, you want people to be grabbing slices and go, and they walk in, it's a complete cluster. That doesn't work. You need to be efficient. And Pizza Mahara, I learned that really, really well. That's like one of the most important things, more than kitchen design, more than dining room design. Where's the door? Where are they walking in? Where does the line form? Where do they pay? Where do they pick up? And that way it really helps your restaurant. So I think for Slice in particular, thinking about the flow of your restaurant from the second somebody walks in, particularly if you have the opportunity to design it from scratch, even if you don't modify it, so that if you're trying to sell a lot of slices, you want to have the bonus grab and go items, you want them to pay and you want them to pick up past where they pay. So the flow is really important. And like Chuck Hammers at Pizza Mahara is a master of that. And I'm not the master, but I've learned a little bit and figuring out the flow. When I consult, kind of the same thing. Where's the door? Where do they walk? Is it natural? You don't want to have to put stanchions up because that's ugly, and kind of figure that out. I'd like to think that when you walk in here, that it makes sense. Soft drinks, grab and go before you order. Slice case that allows space for a line. Register, open space, soda. You know, thinking about that. Like, what if the soda machine was over here? And you go pay, you grab a cup, and you got to come back over here. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's simple, but like I think it's really important, particularly if you're trying to. Super simple, super important. If you're trying to do a slice, think about the flow.
Final question for you. No right answer. What's good dough?
Wow, dude, it's all good dough. It's from the Bay, you know, you're like, what's good? Man, everything's good. I'm so blessed to do what we do here every day and get to play with dough every day and cook, you know. There's not much to be mad about in doing this.
It's dope, man. I'm happy for you. Congratulations on everything.